Hello everybody, this is Nojo from Thranda Design, and today we are landing the Caravan. Since we got it up in the air, we gotta get it back down on the ground. So welcome on board. Here we are in cruise at 7,000 feet over the Caribbean. Not much to see right now, but we're going to be descending into Princess Juliana Airport. It's that famous one with that big beach that all the big planes fly right over the people. Anyway, that one. So since we're at 7,000, we need to start planning for our descent. We're 36 miles out, which at this ground speed is about 15 minutes. So how do we figure out when to start our descent? Well, it's pretty easy. Basically, if we're going to be descending at 500 feet per minute, then we could say 500 feet per minute. That means 2 minutes per 1,000 feet. We're coming down to sea level, so that means 7,000 feet we need to lose. 7,000 times 2 minutes is 14 minutes. So our ETE right now is about 15 minutes, so we're just coming up on our descent point. The other major way to calculate a descent is take the number of thousands of feet to descend, in this case 7, because 7,000 feet, and multiply it by 3. It gives us about 21, so that tells us about 21 miles out is when we begin our descent, and that would be for a higher descent rate. Today, since we're DHL and just carrying boxes, we actually don't really care about the descent rate so much, but if you have passengers, descending faster than 700 feet per minute can be uncomfortable for their ears, so just something to consider. But here we are, coming up on 14, so let's go ahead and pull up our checklist. Go to the pop-up, show hide checklist, and here we are in cruise. Let's go to descent. So ice protection as required. It's really warm and it's only going to get warmer as we go down, so no ice protection on. Pitot-static heat on when the OAT is below 4, but it's not, we're warmer than that. No smoking seatbelt sign switches, not installed, but as required. Altimeter set. So we got the ATIS and 1013, or if we want the inches of mercury, 29 or 0.9 or 2. So altimeter is set, and then power as required to give the desired rate of descent. So let's dial in our new altitude. Let's say we'll come down to 1,000 feet, go to vertical speed mode, click down to 500 feet per minute, and we see the airplane starts a descent, altitude is armed, and now we can decrease our power as desired. However, in this case, our indicated speed's not that high yet, so we might as well use gravity to make us go a bit faster and get there a little bit quicker. It means we'll probably be a little bit high, but that's okay. So, I'm going to skip ahead until we're a little bit closer, and we'll talk more about the approach and landing phase. Alright, we're going to be entering a traffic pattern around Princess Juliana Airport, so before we get to the pattern, actually let me turn left a little further. Let's go through our before landing check. So seat belts, shoulder harnesses, secure. Fuel tank selectors, left on, right on. Fuel condition lever is high idle, there. Propeller control lever comes max forward, so we'll come back up to 1900 RPM. Weather radar, turning off. Autopilot, off. Let's disconnect that guy. And 1,500 feet, 500 feet to go. We're going to kind of swing around here. And then wing flaps as desired. So we can go 10 degrees below 175 knots, 20 degrees below 150 knots, and 30 degrees below 125 knots. And there's your white arc. Okay, and let's just take a look at the normal landing checklist real quick. So wing flaps, full down, although many operators will land at just 20 degrees of flaps, or even 10. If you have a big, long runway, then you can fly higher approach speeds with less flaps. Airspeed 75 to 85 knots, touchdown on the main wheels first, and then into beta range after touchdown, and brakes as required. Okay, I'm going to close this checklist, so let's got 100 feet to go in the descent. Let's come around here. Now, I'm going to be flying attempting to fly one of the profiles from a local operator around here. So typically, enter the pattern at about 140 knots, clean, no flaps. And then once we're beam our touchdown point, we're going to configure to flaps 20, prop forward, inertial separator on, ignition on, and we'll be looking for 90 knots on final, and we'll land with flaps 20 from 90 knots. So we're coming in on the 45 to the left downwind runway 10 at Princess Juliana. So let me get arranged here. There we go. Whoops, 140. I'm not paying attention to my speed. Okay, let's scoot up. There it is. Okay. So we're going to enter the downwind. So we're about 140 knots and clean. And you can figure around 1,200 foot-pounds of torque is going to give you about 140. Kind of depends on your weight. Today, our plane, we're quite heavy. We've got a bunch of packages coming in from San Juan, Puerto Rico. So we are heavy. And I feel like we're a little bit close in. So I'm just going to kind of angle us out. Okay, coming abeam our touchdown point, we're going to come power back to 400. We're in below 175, flaps 10. We'll have to roll in a little nose down trim. And below 150, flaps 20. Okay. Looking for a descent. And we will be slowing to 90 on final, so we're just going to extend out here a little bit. Okay. So inertial separator comes open, ignition comes on, lights on. All right. So let's make our turn to base. We're 100 knots, looking good. Keep that coming right on around. Gonna look up. I'm gonna use the keypad number 7 view. That kind of gives us a view up over the wing. And we're just gonna keep this turn coming right on around to final. Add a little bit of power, about 700 foot-pounds. There we go. Okay, let's do a last configuration check. Power coming back to 400. Flaps are 20, props forward. Gear is down. It better be down. Funny story while we're here. I always do that every time I'm coming into land, even in, at Cessna 172 that doesn't have retractable gear. It's always my final check in real life. I'll look down and say, gear is down. Okay. So, coming in for final, we're looking for 90, so I'm a little bit fast. I'm just going to decrease that power a little bit. Now, as a fair warning, if you go to flight idle, the plane will drop like a rock. That propeller acts as a big old brake up front. So be careful about that. You'll want to carry a little bit of power in, especially in the Grand Caravan, and especially at higher weights. So smoothly pulling the power gradually back, 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 back. We're flaring. We're just going to fly right along next to the runway. Power coming back. Bonk. There it is. Into beta. Wow. And then brakes as required. So we got a big long runway. I'm not even using the wheel brakes yet. So we'll come along here. We're going to take the next exit, and we'll come to a stop just across the whole short line, and we'll go through our after landing checklist. All right, a little bit of brakes. Follow this taxi line. We'll ignore that taxi light that we just ran over. Okay. So still in beta. And the plane's just kind of slowing itself down. It's great. Oh, I love turboprops. They're so cool. Okay, coming to a stop. Bonk. So let's pull up our checklist. I'm going to come out of beta now that we're stopped here. Normal landing, done. Short field landing, bulk landing, so that's our go-around. After landing, wing flaps, up. Ice protection equipment, off, 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 off. Standby power switch comes off. Strobe lights off. Landing lights and taxi lights as required, we'll turn those off. And fuel condition lever comes to low idle, leaving the inertial separator on. Good, so now we can taxi. Shut down and securing plane. Let's just, we're just gonna scoot ourselves right up here and we'll shut down over here, just off the taxiway. So adding a little bit of power to roll. Oh, whoops, I forgot. Ignition off. Okay. Use a little beta. We're going to use the tight turning radius of this plane. There we go. Step on that left brake. It just pulls that nose right around, and we'll come to a stop. Okay, shut down and securing. Let's run through that. So, parking brake, set. Avionics power switches, off. Standby power switch is off. Fuel boost switch, off. Bleed air heat switch and ventilation fans are off. They're already off. Power lever is idle. ITT stabilized at the minimum ITT for 1 minute. We'll pretend it's been a minute. Propeller control lever feather. Womp. And we can see our prop RPM fall. And now fuel condition lever cut off. And there's our NG falling. We're going to check and make sure the ITT is falling so that it's not somehow hung or combusting something on the inside. Oxygen supply control lever overhead, off. It already was. Lighting switches, off. So that's internal and external lighting. Beacon can come off. battery switch off, fuel tank selectors left off or right off, so we'll turn one of them off. That prevents cross-feeding, especially if you're parked on a slope. Turn off the high wing to prevent the fuel from flowing to the other one. Tie downs and shocks as required, and external covers install. So let's do all covers, all tie downs. There's our tie downs and shocks. Cool. And so now we can unload the airplane. So that was our normal landing. Let's take a look at an abnormal, no, I'm just kidding. Let's take a look at a short field landing. Okay, oh boy, here we are. We're coming into St. Bart's, so let's pull up our checklist. We're gonna go through before landing checklist again. Seat belts, shoulder harnesses, fuel tank selectors, left on, right on, high idle, prop full forward, weather radar off, autopilot, disconnect. And this time we're gonna go, instead of normal landing, we're gonna go look at the short field landing. So this will be full flaps, 78 knots. We'll reduce to idle once we're clear of obstacles, touchdown main wheels first, into beta and reverse after touchdown, and we'll apply the brakes heavily while holding elevator control full aft, and then retract the wing flaps if I can manage to. So I'm flight idle right now. I'm going to start putting in our flaps. I'm going to try to get set up for that 78 knots a little bit early. It's helpful to have a nice stable approach. Okay, so full flaps in. Our airspeed is dropping like a rock. I better pull that power forward again. Okay, so there's 85. So coming into St. Bart's, we're going to drop in over this crazy hill. There's a roundabout we're going to go over, and just to the left of the roundabout is a white cross. And we can use that as our altitude reference. We want to be about level with the cross. Now, if there's a break in the video coming ahead, it means the landing didn't go so well, and I tried again. So let's see how it goes. So I'm just modulating power and pitch, trimming for 78, trying to keep us coming down. I feel like we're a little high. I'm going to pull back that power a little bit. Okay. I can see a windsock on the left. That white cross, kind of hard to see. We're going to be a little high. So, adding a little power. Okay, coming over the roundabout. Here we are. Power to idle. We're going to let that nose come right on down. Woohoo! Okay, flare. Whoa, whoa, easy. Oh, bit of a float. Yikes. Okay. Into beta and reverse, and we're going to brake heavily and retract those flaps. Woo! Oh, man. This is on my bucket list, by the way. Someday I want to do this for real. That would be awesome. As a passenger. Or as a pilot. Okay. So we're out of reverse, and adding some power, going to bring that nose right on around, and we'll taxi back up and park. Oh, that's exciting. So I highly recommend this scenery. It's TFFJ St. Bart's by AW Designs. They also have the Princess Juliana scenery as well. Great stuff, and really fun for using the Caravan. Oh, all right. I think it's time to go have lunch or something. Let that adrenaline bleed off. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.